just want to introduce yourself. Where are you from? Why did you choose to study nutrition, that sort of thing?
Sure. So, I'm from Arizona, born and raised, and then I started off at culinary school at Johnson and Wales University
Mm-hmm.
in Denver. I wanted to get out of the heat, so I
Yeah.
went there and quickly saw a connection between really healthy, rich, decadent foods and a negative impact on health. And so that really intrigued me. So I worked in restaurants for a long time, and then I moved back to Arizona, went to Arizona State University, and studied nutrition and dietetics there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started posting on Instagram just nutrition tips and things like that, which kind of evolved into the gastronomic dietitian sort of a thing. Gastronomic is
Mm-hmm.
defined as the art and science of eating and like making good food.
Mm-hmm.
And dietitians are nutrition diet experts. So that's kind of where it all started and where it all kind of rooted from.
I love that. How you kind of mix the two of
Yeah.
the art with the science.
Yeah.
So I read on your blog that you're a mom, which is amazing. Do you have any tips or strategies for how to eat healthily when life gets really busy?
Yeah. So my husband and I, we always meal plan for the week. It's a lot easier than trying to figure it out day of. You've had a long day. The last thing you want to think about is what's for dinner.
Yeah.
So we always meal plan at the beginning of the week, which is for us Wednesday because we go grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll meal plan on Tuesdays and then go grocery shopping on Wednesdays. So we menu plan, we have breakfast options, and then we always make extra dinner so we have lunch already ready to go. And it's already a balanced meal. So we kind of just plan ahead and
Mm-hmm.
prep on the weekends. So depending on the menu, we'll grill or roast chicken, we'll grill or roast some vegetables, we'll make batches of beans, anything that we can do to make it easier, we kind of try to do during our free time because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it just ends up being a lot crazier than what you think it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my daughter could have a bad day, we could just have a really hectic day. So it's a lot easier to just kind of plan ahead and then always being flexible with what we have planned.
That's great. And so when you meal plan, do you just make your meals and then make like extra servings so that you have lots of leftovers, or do you specifically prepare ahead of time a meal for a certain day?
So what we do is we kind of put a menu together and
Mm-hmm.
then we will meal prep some of the items and then the other stuff we make fresh. And
Okay.
so depending on the day, so we'll do chicken on the weekend. That way I don't have to worry about cooking it
Mm-hmm.
during the day. Sometimes we'll roast off beets and potatoes, turnips, things like that. Day of, we'll make the other food. So if we need to make rice or we're making pasta, we're making tacos, we'll
Mm-hmm.
just add the extra stuff in and make the vegetables that aren't already roasted off. So it's kind of like a hybrid.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah.
And this account's whole goal is to kind of make healthy eating more cost effective and possible for everyone. Do you have any strategies to making healthy eating more cost effective in your life, or tips you have?
Yeah. Yeah. So always eating in season is going to be more affordable
Mm-hmm.
because everything that's in season, there's going to be more of it. So the prices are going to be lower because there's just such a surplus. Also, eating vegetarian once a week can substantially lower your grocery bill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we always make at least one meal vegetarian during the week. Just looking at, things around you. Are there CSAs that might be more affordable than, going to a farmer's market? Can you buy things in bulk, like rice and beans and
Mm-hmm.
dried goods? So those are really awesome ways to make things more effective and more affordable for you on the day to day.
Those are good tips too. And then one of the questions I thought of is, if someone's new to healthy eating and they come to you just unsure where to start, where would you tell them where to start?
So it's really, it's all about balance. So looking at how you're building your plate is going to be the easiest way to try to be more healthy. Finding that balance. So having a healthy fat, a protein with each meal, half of your plate is the goal for vegetables, and then whole grains. So what I would say for somebody who's starting out is pick one meal and increase your vegetables to where it's half of your plate, and then increase that to 2 meals a day and then 3 meals a day, and work in a progressive way so you're not trying to make a million changes at once.
Mm-hmm.
Pick one thing, master that, and then move on so it's sustainable.
And then I was just thinking too about how different nutritionists have different philosophies and So if you have a general philosophy when it comes to nutrition, do you think that diets are helpful, that sort of thing?
So, I mean, the name gastronomic
Yeah.
dietitian, it says it all. I'm all about the food. I
Yeah.
love food. I love having people understand that healthy food is really yummy. It doesn't have to
Mhm.
taste like cardboard.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that. I think that in certain circumstances, diets are beneficial if it's related to health, if it's
Hmm.
related to a specific disease state,
Hmm.
or it's doctor recommended, things like that. I think those diets are helpful. But as far as the general population with being healthy, I think it's about sustainable life changes,
Hmm.
balance, moderation,
Yeah.
variety. Dieting causes yo-yoing and you go in and out and you have the ebbs and flows of weight gain, weight loss, and you're constantly making these changes, and that's actually not
Hmm.
beneficial. So I think that it's about sustaining lifestyle changes, and strict diets are only needed if there's a real medical reason
Hmm.
for it.
So enjoying food, but just remaining conscious about what you're eating. Okay.
Yeah, and always, focusing on enjoying the food you're having, but in a healthy way and
Hmm.
finding ways to make it healthy and enjoyable and not restricting yourself. Like you can have a cookie, you can have some chocolate. It's not the end of the world, but maybe not having cookies and chocolate for dinner,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
having that balance is really important.
I've read a lot about like having a colorful plate and lots of different colors of fruits and veggies to get all of the vitamins and minerals. And do you agree with that philosophy when it comes to eating, or do you think, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, so um, with the different fruits and vegetables, it's all about what they provide. So
mm-hmm.
different colors come from the different phytochemicals that make those fruits and vegetables different colors, and the colors provide variety and different nutrients. And by having the same colors or the same foods all of the time, you're limiting yourself with what you're taking in. So having all those different colors, it makes it one more appetizing to
Mm-hmm.
look at, and then you're
Yeah,
adding more flavor, and then you have all these extra nutrients that just, make life so much better for your body.
yeah, that's great. A lot of people are wondering, is it important to eat at a certain time of the day? Like, is midnight snacking bad, or is breakfast like the most important meal of the day? That sort of thing.
So with meal timing, it's kind of a twofold thing. So with certain diseases, certain medications, certain illnesses, eating at specific times is very important.
Mm-hmm.
People who have certain medications that have to take it in the morning and they have to eat it with food, then eating in the morning is extremely
Mm-hmm.
important. As far as diseases and medication, that's something that should be discussed with a doctor and a dietitian so you can come up with a personalized plan. But for the general population, it's about listening to your body. If you're hungry, then you need to eat. If you're hungry first thing in the morning, you need to eat. If you need to wait an hour or two, then that's fine. But it's about having that balanced food that you're eating, a healthy protein, a healthy fat,
Mm-hmm.
some carbs, some vegetables. And so eating when you're hungry, if you're hungry at midnight, maybe you need to look at how much you ate during the day. Did you not eat enough during the day? Because that's probably what's going on. So you need to eat more during the day so that you're not hungry at midnight.
Yeah.
But definitely listening to your body is a huge thing. You don't want to starve yourself. And if you're not willing to eat some vegetables and some fruit, then you're probably not really hungry. You might just be bored if you just want to snack on
Yeah.
some chips. So understanding, like, okay, am I hungry or do I just feel like snacking because it sounds good? Like, really thinking about it and then making those choices and trying to make healthy choices. Because if you're not willing to eat an apple, but you want to eat a bag of chips, it's
Yeah.
probably a snackage thing and not so much hungry.
Yes, that's a good way to think about it because that happens to me a lot.
Yeah.
And so with carbohydrates having, from what I've learned, like, immediate fuel, but that doesn't last long, and with a lot of like, especially American breakfast having mainly carbs with cereal and toast. Do you have any advice for how to get like, healthy fats and proteins in that will last longer throughout the day?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's about adding in, that balance again. I keep saying balance and it's repetitive, but it's so true. So adding in, either nut butter or avocado to your toast instead of just butter or jam, adding in, flaxseed, chia seed, hemp seed, those are all good sources of fat and they have some protein and some other beneficial nutrients as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can add, nut butter, you can add avocado, you can add yogurt, you can add any of those seeds, nuts. leafy greens to a smoothie and then drink it. And it's a lot faster, especially on the go, you know, being a student, working, you know, busy parents, like that's a really easy meal. I make smoothies for my husband every morning for breakfast, and that's what he has during his work week. Having eggs, you know, is a great option. You know, maybe making a breakfast burrito with some sweet potatoes, some beans, some vegetables, some avocado, and just really looking at different sources that you can pull from. So it's not just, you know, some toast with some butter, because that's not going to stick to you.
Yeah, that's making me hungry, all of this I was wondering if you have, or what foods best work to balance insulin or help with insulin resistance.
So with insulin resistance, you're going to want to look at the low glycemic index. So there's a lot of stuff you can Google low glycemic index lists, and it'll tell you it's basically complex carbs instead of, you know, plain simple carbs, because it's slower on the uptake of the sugar that carbs are turned into. Eating a protein and a fat with each meal will also slow down that uptake of carbs right away, because there's more to break down than just those carbs. And then looking at other options, if the list doesn't work for people, there's low glycemic index apps that they can download and look at, you know, the foods that they're looking at the grocery store and be like, oh, this doesn't really make the list, but maybe if I add, you know, this other food, like sweet potatoes are a great option. I wrote down a few options for you. Yeah, so whole grain sweet potatoes, non-starchy vegetables, focusing on fruits, beans, lentils. Those are really good options. Oats, quinoa, water, tea, and not eating sweetened foods or sweetened beverages is going to really help with that insulin resistance. And it's all
Okay.
about that balance.
I also have this kind of wacky question just because I was thinking about it, like the difference between eating like a cold piece of cheese versus a melted piece of cheese. Unhealthy, or is there a difference?
So as far as like the nutritional value of it, if you melt it versus cold, it's not going to change.
Okay.
If you're looking at different types of cheese have different nutrient values, different fat values, things like that. So if you're comparing different cheeses, there are cheeses that are lower in fat, higher in fat. You know, aged cheeses are going to have some of that, those chemicals and those bacteria that are going to be beneficial that, you know, non-aged cheeses would have. If you want to look at, you know, specifically, if you want to look at cheese melted versus not, there is a caloric difference if you're looking at just
Okay.
weight. So melted cheese has no air bubbles because it's been melted. And so it's less dense than cold cheese. So it weighs less. So if you were looking at cheese from a weight standpoint and you were weighing your cheese or measuring your cheese, like I'm going to have a cup of melted
Yeah.
cheese. Like that cheese is going to get in all those nooks and crannies of that cup measurement, whereas cold cheese wouldn't.
Okay.
And so it's going to weigh less. So if you were weighing the cheese and being like, I can have a whole cup of cheese, then you're going to get more calories and more fat from that melted cheese versus the cold cheese just because of the weight difference. If that makes sense. But it's
Yeah,
not
makes
going to
sense.
change molecularly as far as like, oh, this cheese is giving me more nutrients than other cheese.
That was kind of a random question, but
Yeah,
interesting
it's a
answer.
fun question. And
If you have anything else you want to share or questions from me too.
so I guess the only thing I would add is that with nutrition, a lot of people think that it's about, you know, eating boring food and not being able to eat what you want. But it's really about fueling your body to give yourself the fuel so your body can function at its optimum. And it's food is so powerful and it has such an impact. Eating that balanced, healthy diet with variety and having, you know, things that you like, cookies and, you know, candy every now and then is okay, but really looking at how you feel yourself, because a lot of people don't understand that it can impact you from, you know, your energy levels and the way that you have your mental clarity, all the way down to the way your DNA is expressed. So the food you eat can actually impact how your DNA expresses itself, which can lead to having diseases or not. So it really
Wow.
impacts you down to the molecular level. You know, healthy food is so much more than just a fad or just a diet or anything. It's really a lifestyle and sustaining yourself so that you can be your best self and provide as much as you can for your body.